The deadliest enemy on the Eastern Front was never the tank, the rifle, or the artillery shell. It didn't roar, it didn't advance, it didn't even have a face. It waited, quietly, patiently. And, it killed more men than bullets ever did. The cold didn't just weaken armies, it erased them. Entire units vanished without firing a shot, not because they lost battles, but because they lost heat. And here's the part no history class ever tells you. Soldiers didn't survive those winters because they had better weapons or better clothing. They survived because they accidentally rediscovered a thermal principle so powerful it could honestly triple the usable heat inside shelters that should have killed them. Once you understand this, you will never think about winter, insulation, or survival the same way again. Before we go any further, if you value forgotten history, real survival knowledge, and stories that actually matter, hit like, subscribe, and share this with someone who thinks winter is harmless as long as the heater works. Drop a comment too, because this channel exists for people who want more than surface-level history. Now, let's get straight into it. Section 1. The war no one talks about. When people think about the Eastern Front, they remember the scale. Stalingrad, Kursk, endless artillery. But beneath every famous battle was another war being fought every single night. A silent one. A war against physics itself. Frostbite removed soldiers faster than wounds. Hypothermia killed men in their sleep. Pneumonia spread through units already broken by nights spent bleeding heat into frozen soil. From 1941 onward, winter wasn't a season. It was an undefeated general, and it never needed permission to kill. The most brutal truth is this. Cold didn't just weaken armies, it dismantled them quietly. No explosions, no medals, just men who never woke up. On paper, the shelters should have worked. Dugouts carved into earth, log bunkers reinforced with timber, earth walls thick enough to stop bullets. But every one of them shared the same fatal flaw. They were built directly against frozen ground. Frozen earth is not just cold. It is a massive thermal sink. It absorbs heat relentlessly. Anything touching it loses warmth continuously. Bodies, boots, walls, even the air itself. Soldiers could sit beside a stove and still freeze because the heat never stayed. It flowed straight into the ground. Heat always moves from warm to cold. Always. And during those winters, the ground was colder than everything else for hundreds of miles. A shelter touching frozen earth without separation doesn't protect you. It drains you. That is why men woke up colder than when they fell asleep. The shelter wasn't holding heat, it was feeding it to the earth. Section 3. Why more insulation failed? So soldiers tried what anyone would try. Straw, branches, extra blankets, clothing stuffed into gaps. At first it felt warmer, then it failed. Every time, loose insulation settles, it shifts, it sags, and the moment it does, air begins to move. That movement becomes a conveyor belt for heat loss. Warm air rises, cold air sinks. Tiny convection loops form inside walls and carry warmth straight into the frozen mass behind them. Insulation doesn't fail because it's thin. It fails because air inside it can move. This is the moment everything changed. Section 4. The discovery born from freezing. Night after night, men experimented because they had no choice. They noticed something strange. Soft materials always failed. Loose layers always betrayed them. But anything compressed, anything dense, anything that refused to move, worked. They didn't know the science. They didn't know the name. But they were rediscovering one of humanity's oldest technologies. Section 5. Why felt stopped the cold? Felt isn't woven, it isn't stitched, it's created by pressure, moisture and force. Fibres locked together so tightly that air becomes trapped and immobilized. Millions of tiny pockets, frozen in place. Air that cannot move, cannot steal heat. Using wool blankets, uniforms, saddle pads and scraps, soldiers soaked them, trampled them, rolled them, pressed them under timbers. Even freezing helped. Ice expanded fibres tighter. When thawed near stoves, the result was stiff, windproof felt panels. For the first time, warmth stayed. Section 6. Density beats. Loft. Modern insulation teaches softness, thickness, fluff. But fluff lies. Loft allows air to move. Movement kills heat. Dense insulation stops conduction. It destroys convection. It reduces radiation. It doesn't look warm. It stays warm. That's the principle the Eastern Front taught in blood. Section 7. The three-layer system that tripled heat. The breakthrough wasn't felt alone. It was structure. Cold outer wall accepted as untouchable. Dense felt layer blocking heat loss. A narrow sealed air gap, then an inner skin protecting the system from moisture. When assembled correctly, interior temperatures rose dramatically. More importantly, heat stayed after fires died. Shelters stopped draining warmth and started holding it. They didn't create more heat. They slowed its escape. Section 8. Moisture, the invisible killer. Wet insulation conducts heat like metal. Moisture destroyed shelters faster than cold alone. The lesson learned the hard way was simple. The moisture barrier must always be on the warm side. Always. This mistake still kills warmth in modern homes. Section 9. This was never about wool. Any material works if air is immobilized. Clothing, cardboard, leaves, trash. Wool wasn't special. Structure was. Control the air, and you control the heat. Section 10. Why we forgot. Cheap energy erased the lesson. Houses became machines. When power fails, they fail. The Eastern Front never had that luxury. They built shelters that defended warmth even when fire died. Section 11. Applying it today. Basements, garages, cars, emergency shelters. The logic never changed. Dense, dry, sealed. Micro-shelters beat massive heated spaces every time. Final section. The real legacy. The real legacy wasn't a trick. It was understanding. Heat is not created. It is preserved. Survival belongs to those who respect physics instead of fighting it. If this changed how you think about winter, share it, subscribe. This knowledge matters more now than ever.